Welcome into the Denver Sports Podcast presented by Breckenridge Brewery. I am your host, Allie Monroy, and with me today I've got AJ Hafley, Justin Michael, Henry Chisholm, and Andre Simone, and we are talking all about the NFL draft, the Broncos pick, and all of the news rumors that happened before the draft yesterday. So stay tuned. I know we normally talk about all sports. We'll probably touch a little bit about the Avs since we've got some news from AJ, but it will be mainly football podcast. So guys, let's jump right in. There was a chance yesterday, right before the draft started, that Aaron Rodgers was coming to Denver. It was chaotic. Everyone was freaking out. Report after report after report was coming in saying this is almost closed. They've got the terms. What is happening? And then all of a sudden they're like, nope, we're going to hold off. So emotions were so up and down yesterday. But a day before, the Broncos traded for Teddy Bridgewater. So what is this QB room going to look like with Drew and Teddy? And then let's talk about the possibility of Aaron. But first with Drew, Locke, and Teddy. Let's start with you, Henry.
Yeah, I mean, it's a better room than it was a week ago. And the thing is, if a week ago you said in 1 week the Broncos are going to have a better quarterback room than they do right now, you would have been fired up. You would have been they must have Justin Fields. They must have Trey Lance. Lines up, it's Teddy Bridgewater that they add. And you know what? He's an NFL quarterback, and that's what you can say about him. You know, he doesn't necessarily have any strengths to his game. Like, he doesn't have the arm strength. I've seen people talk up his accuracy. I've seen some misses myself. He is an NFL quarterback. He's Trevor Siemian-like in a way, maybe a little bit better. And at the very least, you have a real option. You don't have to worry about Jeff Driscoll and Brett Rippon anymore. And who knows? Maybe he does pull it together. Maybe he looks like he looked with the Saints during that short stint, and you actually have something to be excited about. Right now, I think you're going to be seeing a lot of Drew Lock this year, and it won't make too big of a difference.
Andre, what do you think of the Broncos acquiring Teddy?
Yeah, it's undoubtedly a better quarterback room. I've always had a soft spot for Teddy, but you're looking at, at most, you're kind of capped out at 20th, 25th best quarterback in the NFL. And look, George Payton with Pat Shurmur, they've gone all the way to a conference championship with the 20th to 25th best quarterback in the NFL. Vic Fangio's made deep playoff runs with that quality quarterback. Shoot, John Elway's won a Super Bowl with. So the people in that building have found recipes to overcome a shortcoming at quarterback. Yes, the room is better and more competitive than it was before, but in a league of 32 teams, at best, your quarterback is better than 10 others. And even that might be ambitious. And when you're in the bottom third at the most important position in football, that means the other 21 spots on your roster need to really elevate and make up for those gaps. So they're still on the outside looking in. I mean, that's the nature of the NFL. There's the haves and have-nots. When you don't have a quarterback, you're a have-not.
AJ, you nodded when Andre said he's always had a soft spot for Teddy. Do you agree? Do you have the same feelings?
Yeah, I've always been a Teddy Bridgewater guy. Going all the way back to when he was at Louisville, I always really liked him.
Yeah.
He's a good pro. He's a solid, the thing is that it feels like I get where fans are frustrated.
Yeah.
Because it feels like, oh God, they're doing this again. But Case Keenum was never the answer. They bought high on Case Keenum. And then Joe Flacco was washed. Yeah. And so this is different. This is a guy that's been in demand for the last couple of years because he does have a skill set that can play, that can be a starter in the NFL.
Yeah.
And look, is this a long-term answer? No.
Yeah.
But given that they are only paying him $4 million this year?
$3 million.
$3 million? Okay.
Yeah.
To be one of the better backups and to have kind of a Tyrod Taylor-esque role here where he's going to push Drew Lock. I think that the fear, if you want to use that term, is that he overtakes Drew Lock in training camp, and then you never find out.
Yeah.
With Drew Lock, like you just kind of always sit there and you're like, well, what if Lock had, because when you have so little separation between the young guy and the veteran, the temptation to go to the veteran is always going to be there for a coaching staff. And frankly, for a guy like Vic Fangio, where you wonder about his job security.
Absolutely.
You have to wonder, that guy is in the business of winning games to keep his job, and he's not going to be as invested in what might happen 2 or 3 years down the road with Drew Lock. If he can't win those games now, he's out of a job.
Very true.
So that's the fear, is that it's a better quarterback room. Cool.
Right.
Are they any closer to accomplishing any of their goals? How much better do they actually get as a team? How much help do they actually give Drew Lock with this? And can the coaching staff resist the temptation on, Drew Lock's going to go out there and he's going to throw 2 interceptions in the first half, and you're going to wonder, can they resist the temptation? Are they committed to letting the young guy figure it out or not? Because when you pass on Justin Fields, you have to be committed to seeing it through with Drew Lock. Otherwise, what are we doing here?
Aaron Rodgers. That's the other thing we could be doing here.
So until that thing is nowhere near dead.
No, it is not.
If my phone is blowing up about it all night, there's something up. We'll see, right? Like with the Aaron Rodgers thing is 100%. Like if that happens, the math changes, the conversation changes.
Oh, the conversation changes intensely. Like you're looking at Super Bowl in the next few years.
This year,
if Aaron Rodgers, you can say this year, at least in the next few years, if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback for the Denver Broncos. But before we jump into that conversation, I do want to get to Justin and see what he thinks of Teddy and Drew in that locker room. But I agree, AJ. I feel like if they're tempted to go with Teddy because he's the safer option, and then you have the fan base, which is so divided right now on Drew Lock, and you're getting that feedback from the fans, like booing Drew, like it might be the safer option, like you said, out of that fear to go with someone like Teddy. But Justin, what do you think?
I mean, financially, it makes a lot of sense. You had a veteran, a guy who's played football at a high level, and you're paying him essentially nothing. You're paying him, like middle of the road wide receiver money to, potentially be a fallback option, a save your season type deal if Drew Lock falls flat on his face. But the big question for me, and I won't go on, too much because AJ basically, already made this point, is how does this impact Drew Lock's development? How does this view, what type of leash does he have with the staff moving forward? Is it Drew Lock's job to lose, or is this truly an open competition 50-50 going in? Because the context of how the coaches kind of, work this quarterback angle is going to matter a lot. Because if it truly is open, that's probably not great for Drew Lock because he needs those reps. He's already had to be in a weird situation where he changed offensive coordinators in his second year. Then he didn't get an off season. Now you want him going into his third off season splitting reps like that. That doesn't seem, like the best way to find out if he truly is your franchise guy. So for me, I'm hoping it's just a veteran presence. You're bringing somebody in that can kind of be that de facto coach on the sideline. And then, if all goes wrong, maybe you have to bring him in around week 8 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like we figure out Drew doesn't have it. If they brought him in to be the guy, I don't like the move as much.
Yeah. So we have a few people in the comments asking, what is it going to take to trade for Rodgers? Like, obviously we heard a few rumors that it was a 3 firsts that was an agreement on yesterday. I think Brian Harris tweeted that out, but nothing ended up happening. So what do you think it's actually realistically going to take to get Rodgers here?
King's ransom.
Yeah, realistically, it does not matter. If you have Aaron Rodgers, you all of a sudden you're a top 4 team.
That's not the question.
This season.
The question is, what trade package are you looking at for Rodgers? Not
if
how
this turns
many
into-
stadiums would Henry sell to get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
So I think that's more interesting, though, right?
Oh,
Is
seriously.
what a trade package looks like.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly though. But the thing is, like, no matter what we say the trade package is, it does not matter. If you say
You do it.
If I say 5 first-round picks, it does not matter. I do think it is 3 first-round picks though. But I mean, that's not even a conversation. You give those first-round picks and it doesn't matter. The question is whether the Packers would rather say, Aaron, you either play for us or that's it, because we have your rights and you have to retire if we don't trade you. And if the Packers just say, you know what, we're gonna sit here and either make you play, or if you sit out and we lose out on 3 firsts, that's fine with it. And that's really what's at stake here more than anything. And we'll see what happens.
We have someone in the comments saying 3 firsts, a second, and a top defensive player.
Yeah,
I'd still do it. I would still do that.
He's the MVP last season.
Yeah.
And you're bringing him to a better roster after he went to an NFC Championship game.
So Ryan posed this question to you two, Henry and Andre, last night on DNVR Draft Day Live, which was an incredible show. It was so much fun. Thank you to everyone who watched and stayed watching through like 11:30 at night. We will be going live again in literally like an hour and a half at 4:45. A little bit. Okay, 2 hours. I can't do math. 2 hours, and we will be covering rounds 2 and 3, and then we will be covering a recap tomorrow of the rest of the draft. So we've got a lot more draft content coming your way. Stay tuned to this YouTube. Give it a thumbs up. You can set alerts, all that good stuff, so that you don't miss out on anything like that. But Ryan posed a good question to you guys. What was it? It was Jerry Jeudy and Bradley Chubb to give up in this trade with Aaron Rodgers. AJ, Justin, what do you think you would do?
Yeah, go ahead. There's nobody on the roster that I wouldn't be willing to give up to get
would
Aaron
it
Rodgers.
Jeudy or
Chubb? Either, like, if I had to pick one of those two, Jeudy.
Oh, okay.
Because I think
AJ?
edge rushers are more impactful, and I think that wide receivers are more easily replaceable, which we found out with guys like Tim Patrick.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the right answer, as much as it hurts my heart.
I'm a Bama guy. I love Jeudy with all of my heart, dude. I would hate to see us trade him, but I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is in the conversation, then go on ahead. I'll send my Jerry Jeudy with the trades, and they can just use it as a dish rag or whatever.
The irony of including a wide receiver in a Rodgers trade when they refuse to just draft one themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what I was gonna say. Picturing Jerry Jeudy and Aaron Rodgers together playing on that would be incredible. So it makes it a harder question of giving up. But I agree. I mean, wide receivers, you can find them. They're in a lot of classes, top guys. But seeing Jerry Jeudy and Aaron Rodgers together would be incredible.
Yeah. You get rid of Chubb, you're not going to find another one for a couple years. Unless you're paying a lot of money.
On the roster, you replace Chubb with what, like Malik Reed?
Yeah.
Who like, as fun as he is super limited. But you get rid of Jeudy and you still have Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler, and you're just like, okay, well, there's Noah Fant is still in existence.
Mm-hmm.
There's still guys that you're going to be able to throw the ball to.
And you trade a 6th, and if you say we want a receiver for a 6th round pick, you're going to get good options. I mean, what did they get for Emmanuel Sanders? Like a 1-year rental like that, somebody who still has a little bit left in the tank. Like, it's just a lot harder, I think, to find edge rushers than receivers.
Definitely.
Especially in the open market.
All right. Before we keep going in this conversation, we're going to transition real quick to DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Andre, Henry, and Ryan killed it on the draft bets yesterday. How many? You guys got every single one but one?
9 to 10. Yep.
9 out of 10.
3 long shots didn't hit though.
Oh, and the 3 long shots. But they were long shots. We knew.
They were long shots.
We should set the record straight, though. That was all Dre.
Henry's like,
came
I
up
had
with all the
nothing to
bets.
do with this.
Ryan was sitting there panicked before the show started saying, Dre, let me copy all your bets. And like panicked. Me personally, I had put the rest of my account on the Broncos to win the Super Bowl because of the Aaron Rodgers rumors. And so I didn't even get any cash out of this. All Dre, like it typically is.
Dre killed it. I'll correct myself. Dre killed it. had a lot of great bets. You can still bet on rounds 2 and 3 on DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm not sure there is as good of an odds booster deal like there was yesterday, but if you are a first-time user, there are so many great profit boosts, odds boosts, all of the things. You should definitely check out DraftKings Sportsbook. Dre, is there anything you're eyeing? Just give us one, because you're going to talk about it on the show. So just give us one for the people to place a bet on.
Yeah, I'm interested in this, the Kyle Trask wagers. You can get them to go in round 1 at plus 175, and you can get them to go under 68.5 at kind of even money. I'm intrigued by both of those.
There you go. To find out more bets that you should place, tune in to Draft Day Live. Someone asked again. Yes, we will be going live at 4:45 today for rounds 2 and 3. We will be going live until the rounds end, or these guys are just like done, but it'll probably be till the end of the round. I mean, if they're like on the floor, like maybe I'll do a few shots of them on the floor.
Tilt the camera.
Yeah, exactly. We'll tilt the camera, but definitely tune into that 4:45. And you should download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use that promo code DNVR when you sign up. DraftKings basically gives new users free money to use. It's incredible, and they give also old users also some great deals. I hadn't bet in a little bit, and I got a 200% profit boost, and it got me right back into betting again. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only, new customers only. Don't forget to use that promo code DNVR. Winnings paid out in free bets for the $1 into $100. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Man, I thought I had it. I thought I remembered it by heart, and then I panicked. I was like, wait, I don't know.
You gotta just trust it. It'll just come to you. I'll be like in my sleep 40 years from now and just be like, gambling problem, 1-800-522-4700.
Yep.
See, but my concussions kind of break that little. So I can't always trust it. But these guys actually will be able to power through tonight's shows because we've got Strava Craft Coffee, cold brew at the bar. They can drink some cold brew, be honking like a goose, like our DNVR Nuggets friends say. Yes. And you guys should drink some Strava Craft Coffee. They aren't feeling the love as much as they used to, so they're upping their deal. You can save 25% off of your first purchase when you use the code DNVR25. They're one of our longest supporters and sponsors. Go give them some love. They deliver straight to your door, and you can also subscribe and save 20% off every purchase for life. So head to StravaCraftCoffee.com today. It is great coffee. It has CBD in it. It helps with your, if you have shakes when you drink coffee or you get a little anxious, it helps with all of that plus pain. Check it out now. Use the promo code DNVR25 at checkout. All right, guys, let's jump in. Do you guys think the Aaron Rodgers trade is still actually in play?
Absolutely. I don't think he plays for the Packers again.
A lot of people were worried that with the Packers also drafting a cornerback, that it wasn't as much in play. Mm-hmm. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that ultimately how the Broncos drafted in the first round isn't going to matter.
Yeah.
I also think, by not making a deal last night, they've potentially lost a good amount of leverage as this only builds in the public eye and gets uglier, and without acknowledging the fact that I don't think Surtain's on the table for a trade. I think they could have got a top 10 pick with that 9th pick yesterday, and now they might be looking at more like 3 late first rounders, because you'd be looking at a future 2022, 2023, and 2024 that's on a squad that would have Aaron Rodgers. So typically drafting later. I also wonder if players to be exchanged on top of those picks would still be on the table, or if that's getting ugly. We need to remember what's at play here isn't just Aaron Rodgers being unhappy and requesting a trade, saying he's not going to play for the Packers anymore. There's also negotiating a contract extension for him on the table, where they're getting nowhere because Aaron Rodgers just isn't willing to do it. That situation has already dragged on, and it's been brought to light just last night. So that's kind of where we're at. I think this is far from over, and I think it's incredibly telling that the Broncos' odds to win the Super Bowl skyrocketed when these reports came out last night, and have not gone back down. Right now, per DraftKings Sportsbook, the Broncos have the same odds of winning the Super Bowl as the Green Bay Packers. That tells me the math works out to where I think it's about a 50-50 proposition.
And Vegas always knows something.
Correct.
AJ, you were wagging? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Your finger over there.
No, he's right. Green Bay botched this thing because now instead of having the number 9 overall pick to try and use to immediately help them, now they're going to look at, Denver is now looking at, oh, hey, well, we're gonna pair Aaron Rodgers with Patrick Surtain.
Yeah.
And great.
I think Green Bay knew it, though. Like, I think that's why the reports came out so intensely. Is I do think that Green Bay did, legitimately consider trying to make a deal last night, and they probably wanted 9 to be a part of it. It just doesn't really seem like it, came together fast enough. Weird circumstances all around. I mean, Green Bay for 16 years now has just done everything they could to piss Aaron Rodgers off. Like, it's like that sibling that just poke. Am I annoying you yet? Am I annoying you? What about now? Like, what can we do to alienate this guy even more? Really weird situation. Really,
Yeah.
like Henry said, I just don't think he's going to play another game for the Packers. Whether he's going to play for the Broncos, we shall see.
Yeah.
But this is a guy that is just so stubborn. I don't see him bending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Mason, Zach both said that they really don't see this happening in the next few days.
Mhm,
They
yeah.
see it happening more after June 1st.
Yes.
Yeah, if June 1st, if there's a huge dead money charge in play here, then that's why
Yeah.
Green Bay got cold feet last night.
Yeah.
Because they looked at that dead money and were like, "Girl, please," and decided to move on from that. And hey, if they care more about that than what they were gonna get in return, because they were gonna get number 9 in return. Like, let's be real here. Denver wasn't trading for Aaron Rodgers and sitting pretty and picking at 9.
Definitely.
Those were not things that was not how last night was gonna go. It was gonna be either or. And then now they're sitting there. They've got number 9. The guy's in the building. He's going to be a superstar at the position. He's going to make Pro Bowls. Guy's going to be awesome. And now they get to move. Now they get to turn their focus to also maybe we can go and get Aaron Rodgers later.
So let's jump into that conversation. The fan base was really upset yesterday because at 9, Justin Fields was there. Aaron Rodgers deals had hush, so people were like, oh, they're going to get Justin Fields. And a lot of people even in the building thought that was going to happen. And it makes sense. I mean, Ryan tweeted out a really great tweet saying the Broncos have had a quarterback problem for 5 years. They've had 3 top 10 picks in those 5 years. They have used 0 of those picks on a quarterback. So it makes sense why fans were upset. But we're going to stay more on the positive as to why getting someone like Patrick Surtain is such a benefit for the Broncos.
Because he'll be really good. Because he's the best defensive player in the draft class. And Justin Fields, apparently they didn't like him. And going back to that, yes, the Broncos have not drafted a quarterback in their opportunities in the 5 years, all that kind of stuff. Definitely true. I said this on the draft show last night. It's you can say the Broncos, but what it really was Elway for 4 years didn't, and George Payton for 1 year hasn't. And putting all of that onto the Broncos, like, sure, I mean, technically, yeah, but that's not how things work. And if George Payton said, I don't like these 2 quarterbacks,
he's not our guy.
Then they absolutely made the right decision. Again, the honestly, to me, the worst part of this is that the draft doesn't work in a way where, okay, they made the 9th pick. It's this guy, and immediately oh no, what a terrible pick or what a great pick. It takes 5 years, and we just have to sit and wait and watch Justin Fields and watch Patrick Surtain too, even though, I mean, he's going to be really, really good. But watch Justin Fields and see if George Payton was right or if the majority of Broncos fans were right.
AJ, from the start, you weren't necessarily the biggest fan of Justin Fields. Why was that?
Me?
Yeah, you said you wanted Slater. If you could choose for the Broncos, you were interested in Slater. Didn't you say that?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's just a personal philosophy of you build your line until the thing's done, and then you worry about other stuff. But it's like in the NHL draft. I always say draft a defenseman. So
yeah.
That's my personal preference there.
Gotcha.
I mean, Justin Fields is great. Patrick Surtain's probably the cleanest cornerback prospect since Jalen Ramsey. He's got to be the guy that you feel the most comfortable is going to walk in and know exactly how that job is done at a high level in the NFL immediately. There are no question marks about him. It's like, has he already plateaued? That's it. And if he already has, he's still going to be really, really, really good in the NFL. So it's really easy to see why George Paton and friends would love Patrick Surtain. But I mean, Justin Fields that's a potential superstar at the most important position in all of sports.
For sure.
Like you have to have some stones to say no thanks to that. Yeah. You have to really, really, really believe in what you're doing to say no to that, because there's a pretty good chance that no matter what Patrick Surtain does on the field next year, they're right back into the quarterback market again. And we're talking about the draft again, but they're going to be just a little bit too good for them to be in a position where they don't have to worry about moving up or paying an exorbitant price, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So without an Aaron Rodgers, I don't know. Without an Aaron Rodgers solution to this, I don't know what the long-term plan is here. But if we're just looking at Patrick Surtain in a vacuum, he's a great player and a great fit. And you don't have to worry about firing your head coach and him not fitting in the system for the next guy, because he's scheme versatile and he's everything that you want in a cornerback. He's totally clean. He's got great bloodlines. He's got a great attitude. Everybody loves him. It's an extremely easy pick. That he was the second cornerback picked is comical, because it just means an NFL team did something stupid.
And we have some people in the comments saying, like, but wait, Green Bay said they are not trading Aaron Rodgers.
Say that.
Of course. If they don't trade him,
what are they going to say? Yeah, we're trading him?
Aaron Rodgers has made it seem like he will not play. So they can keep saying that, but I think the conversation will change once June 1st happens. But Justin, what do you think of Patrick? Or they said he likes Pat Surtain. And
Pat Surtain.
I thought
Surtain.
Yeah.
Sorry. This was a huge debate yesterday. It's Pat Surtain, not Tain.
Yes.
I'm a big Pat Surtain guy. I mean, like I said last night, I was trying to spin it, and I know nobody really wanted to hear what I had to say because I was stoked that they drafted him. And I get that it's frustrating with Justin Fields on the board there. And I do want to talk about Pat, but one thing I kind of wanted to ask Dre real quick, just as while we're on the question of passing on Fields and maybe why somebody would have wanted to. Does Dwayne Haskins factor into this at all? And the fact that people were so high on his abilities coming out and it just totally flattened out and this is me genuinely asking. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Dwayne Haskins, but is that floating in the back of people's minds?
I don't think so. I mean, if it is, that's just lazy scouting units, helmet scouting. It shouldn't be done. I think what I've heard straight from, Peter Schrager said this, is that there are murmurs around the NFL of like, why couldn't Justin Fields beat out Jake Fromm at Georgia? That's the most like dumb knock you'll hear like that. But yeah, I mean, truth be told, the guy was a lock to be the second overall pick. Mm-hmm. And then the second half of last season happens after a COVID break and he just doesn't look as sharp. He's thinking too much. He's not processing information super quick. And that's when his stock plummeted. Because until like first half of last season, even he would have been the second overall pick, easy peasy.
Yeah, and I don't think, it's not because of Haskins, but I do think that some of the things that may have helped Haskins in college also helped Justin Fields. The fact that
it's lazy though.
You think
lazy.
And I don't.
Yeah.
I don't even,
Yeah, no. Then we should do that with North Dakota State quarterbacks. We should do it with Alabama quarterbacks, Florida quarterbacks, Georgia quarterbacks, Oregon quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. It applies to everyone. Every conference has one or two strong teams where 80% of the time their wide receivers were better than anyone that covered them. Mm-hmm. Get over it. That's scouting. Deal with it. Figure out how to scout and rise above those odds. If that's where you're limited, then let other people do it.
Oh, are you done? Damn it.
Yeah. So my thought, though,
If anyone had Andre rant on the Denver Sports Podcast, check that off your bingo sheet.
to me though, like Haskins isn't a part of the thought process. But again, you saw Justin Fields play from massive pockets and have open receivers. And I think that you have to have doubts because of that, because you see that he's had some easier opportunities than other guys have.
Let's
And you
only
have to
draft
consider it,
quarterbacks
though.
from Wyoming from here on out. Let's do that.
No, it doesn't.
Only
No, it
draft
doesn't mean
Wyoming
you don't draft
quarterbacks from
them.
here on out. That's the only evaluation our brains can process. So let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I shouldn't have
Close
brought
the
this
draft up. Whoever Wyoming's quarterback will be drafted. That should be the first pick of round 2.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
exactly.
Tune in to round 2 and 3 because Andre is coming in spicy. I assume he'll continue that for the show and it's gonna get good. But it is positive Fridays, Andre. So I need you to chill a little.
We
Surtain's
need you to
really
take
good.
that Monday energy and tone it down.
That's Monday ass energy. Breathe.
It
bring it back.
did help Justin Fields that he had that pocket.
Henry,
Obviously.
continue. No.
How could it not help him? Who would say
Exactly.
it's not helping him? Who would ever say it's not helping him?
And I
Okay.
know why you are.
It's irrelevant. Of course it helps him. Rise above it. Figure out how to evaluate him beyond his clean pocket.
Yeah.
You're done.
By
Justin,
putting him in a messy
Henry,
pocket.
I'm muting
Please
you.
mute him. Please mute him. Please.
Both of you are muted. Justin,
Okay.
if you're not listening or if you're not watching the live, they're just like looking at each other. Henry's pointing with a bunch of like I don't know what Henry's doing. Okay. Justin, what were you going to say before that question?
If Justin Fields was not on the board and the Broncos landed Pat Surtain, people would be doing backflips.
Yeah.
If most of teams in the NFL landed Pat Surtain, their fan base would be doing backflips.
Yeah.
But Broncos fans, not a great look last night, guys. As frustrated as we were, it was a very entitled, very like boo-hoo, like way at us type, and it's annoying. Like, and I'm a season ticket holder, so I'm saying like I'm in it forever. But like, guys, why are we throwing a temper tantrum about adding a potential multi-all-pro player? Like, it wasn't like they screwed this up and took some, they didn't pull a Raiders, and take just somebody that you don't even have on your board. You got somebody that was a consensus top 10 pick. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. That's my,
But
no matter what your opinion is, it's not that bad.
I will say though, like Broncos fans were put in such a bad position with like all the Aaron Rodgers stuff happening
It didn't help,
beforehand.
yeah.
So then they were so hyped, and then that came down, and they're like, "Well, it looks like they still want a QB. Maybe we'll get a." So what happened before the draft, I think, just made it impossible for Broncos fans to be happy unless they drafted a quarterback. And I think maybe if that didn't happen, then it would have been a different energy. But who knows? I mean, people were really, really hoping for a quarterback even before Aaron Rodgers rumor. So maybe I'm wrong on that.
Though? What if they take Mac Jones there? What's the energy? Are they just as pissed off? Was it Fields or nothing, or was it quarterback or nothing?
The people have been mad. It would have been Fields would have been the only thing that makes them happen. To me, the whole thing is a lot like the Teddy Bridgewater trade, where you say they just gave up a 6th-round pick and $3 million for Teddy Bridgewater. Objectively, that's a good deal. That's a good deal. Broncos fans want better than Teddy Bridgewater, though, and nobody is all that excited that he's on the roster. It's the same thing. Patrick Surtain for the 9th overall pick. That is a good value. That is a good use of the 9th overall pick. Would Justin Fields have been a better use of it? Again, I'm part of the 80% of the fan base that says, yeah, I think that would have been. George Payton's part of the other 20%, and again, you just have to wait and see.
AJ, you were going to interrupt Justin when he was talking. What were you going to say?
I don't think it was a bad look, man. I think that it's a fan base that gets it. I think it's a fan base that understands that if you don't have a quarterback, like, you're nothing in the NFL. Patrick Surtain can go on. He can make 5 Pro Bowls in a row, and it will be completely irrelevant if they don't have a quarterback. Yeah. It just won't matter. None of it will matter.
We don't know that they're not going to have a quarterback, though. We don't. Drew Lock might be a quarterback.
He might be.
Exactly. I'm not a Drew Lock guy, but he might pan out.
But look, and like he maybe The magic pixie fairy dust falls down on him, and it blesses him with the ability to stop throwing interceptions and turning the ball over. Like, maybe that happens. Maybe somebody figures out how to teach him pocket awareness over the offseason. Maybe all of these magical things conjure up and they come together, and we live in a completely different reality where Drew Lock is actually a quality quarterback. Maybe that happens. Maybe the young guy takes the steps forwards that you hope for, and it all works out. Dude, it could happen. Like, do we like Drew Brees just retired? Do we not remember the first 5 years of his career? Like Phillip Rivers got drafted for a reason, remember? Because they gave up on that guy. So it's absolutely possible. It is 100% a thing that could happen. Absolutely, it's possible. But until you get it right, you have to keep taking shots. You have to. It's the
my
most
argument here is you
position.
can't take a QB at 9 and then also continue to go on Drew Lock. If you take a QB at 9, you're conceding the Lock project is done. You're done here, and that's fine if you decide that. But
absolutely,
no,
like if you take Justin Fields, you take Mac Jones, you're saying Drew Lock is done. We're done with this. That's a decision that they would have made. They made the opposite decision last night.
I just think there's a lot of fans that are making that decision very premature. I guess is the point I'm getting here. He might not pan out, but he very well might.
There was a lot of fans and a lot of people in Pat's mentions,
and that's not cool.
At him, and that's not cool.
I'm never going to be
frustrated.
And that's more what I was referencing.
Yeah,
we lived through. It was a bad look for the fan base.
We lived through the Hunter Niska thing over
understand
here.
That, Justin. And that's such an issue just on social media in general that fans react in that way, and we've seen it with the Avs. We've seen and it's not good. And so I agree with Justin on that sense. I think that's what you're mainly referencing is that there's so many people just angry tweeting at him because of what the Broncos decided, and that's not fair. When he's excited to be a Bronco, he's ready to come in here, and it's just that wasn't cool, and that wasn't a good look.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously that's juvenile and nonsense, and if you act like that, you should have your social media account taken away. You shouldn't be allowed to interact with other people if you're going to be an asshole.
Just be a decent human.
Yeah, exactly.
And I will say that we even had people in our chat just being really – the fan base was just heated last night. So it was people who were happy with the pick were really mad at the people who were unhappy. So in our YouTube chat, I had to tell people I will put you in timeout or I'll block you. They were fighting with each other. And that I think that just all stemmed from the very beginning. Broncos fans had their hopes up for a QB, and it just really ruined the draft for them.
And I was saying before the draft, before the Aaron Rodgers stuff, people are going to be angry tonight. No matter what happens, there will be a portion of the fan base that feels extremely alienated by what happens tonight. Either because first of all, maybe they're a Drew Lock supporter, maybe they're anti-Drew Lock. And there's your first thing. Maybe they think trading up for Justin Fields is a good idea. Maybe they think Mac Jones. There were going to be a bunch of people who were really mad. I think we probably went down the road that could have made them the most mad, having the potential for Aaron Rodgers, having Justin Fields on the board and passing. And so there's a lot of that. And at the same time, there's reason for frustration. The Broncos haven't made the playoffs in 4 or 5 years. And how to fix that problem? If there was an easy answer, guess what? The Broncos would have done it. It's not like they aren't trying. It's that it's a tough thing to do to build a good football team. And now they're out there trying what they're going to try. And George Paton gets paid millions of dollars to make these decisions. We don't know whether he's good at them or not yet. And this is one, again, just wait and see. And making any assumptions is not going to make the next 4 or 5 years any more fun.
And you guys said this on the draft yesterday. So did Ryan on the draft show. And we have some people saying it in the comments. If Justin Fields wasn't his guy and he didn't like him, we could be seeing a similar thing that happened with Drew in the sense of just not believing in him, not putting him in the best situations because it wasn't his guy. And so he went with the guy that he really liked. And I think that's what fans just got to accept.
Well, it's a 6-year window. Like it or not, we're all viewing this in a context of we want this ship turned around. We want the Broncos good in the playoffs. There's enough talent that we think, it should be relevant again. Yeah, I don't know if George Payton necessarily views it that same way. He's got job security in a way that most general managers don't, and that also is going to change things. It doesn't put the pressure to get that quarterback right away. I get that that's frustrating, but it's a different timeline to look at than even Vic Fangio. I mean, we went back to like his job security. Maybe Fangio is just like, I don't want another rookie quarterback. Like, I don't know how much his opinion went into that decision, but I mean, there's just a lot of different things to kind of consider here.
Or he likes Drew Lock.
That would be a problem.
That would be it would be
If someone is making decisions that should determine the long-term success of your franchise based on their short-term well-being, that is a massive problem.
100%.
Organizations
but we know that's part of the business.
Issues. Indeed. And we need to call it out if we feel like that's happening, because then the best interest of the Broncos are not being upkept. The best interest of Vic Fangio's job security is being upkept. And I know that's not what we're saying, but the thing that pisses me off, guys, is Patrick Surtain. No one's watching him. So if you're criticizing him, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's so good.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Even these people giving grades out, Jamar Chase is an A++++++, but Patrick Surtain's a B-. Go watch those two when they played each other, because Patrick Surtain locked them down. It's teach tape on how you use leverage in coverage. And we're actually going to break down some clips from that game in today's live draft show, Allie. This is a guy who's the son of one of the better cornerbacks of his era, was coached by one of the best defensive back coaches in football history, was a starter from day one. AJ, I'm pretty sure you and I were talking about him after like his first or second game as a true freshman, like, oh, hey, add him to the 2021 list because he's going to be a set and forget stud. We saw 8 other back 7 defenders go in the first round last night. Everyone but Surtain, I would argue, was overdrafted. So there was a real premium on back 7 defenders in a draft where you really weren't finding many. And this guy with the size, the speed, the technique that you just do not see from rookie cornerback.
Flawless.
Very comparable to Jerry Jeudy and his route running last year. And AJ, I compare him to Bradley Chubb. You know, a guy that just checks off every single box. Maybe he's not the elite of the elite of the elite, but still, we're talking about multi-Pro Bowls at one of the key positions on a great defense. So, yeah, disappointing, yes. But let's not forget who this guy is.
Oh, yeah.
Credentials he comes to the table with.
Yeah. And like Andre said, we will be breaking down film. It's positive vibes on this upcoming draft show at 4:45. Breaking down film, really getting into looking at who Pat Surtain is. So check that out. Before we wrap up this podcast, Chevalier Mortgage, visit them at DNVRmortgage.com and enter to win a free DNVR shirt or hat of your choice when you do. Mike and Virginia will work tirelessly to find the best loan for your situation. Visit them at DNVRmortgage.com, like I said, and enter to win a free DNVR shirt or hat when you do. Most importantly, get set up with a free consultation to discuss all of your options, whether you're looking at refinancing your current mortgage or buying a new home. Mike and Virginia will make the process as simple as possible. Go check them out. Michael Chevalier, NMLS 1931006. Virginia Chevalier, NMLS 1910631. DNVRmortgage.com. Go check that out.
That's in the bids.
That's Justin Zhu. There you go. We got a lot of people in the comments real quick. And we had someone say, so real quick, let's go. Who won the draft and who lost the draft? And then AJ, I want to talk Avs just a little bit before we go. So we'll do quick. Henry, who won the draft?
The Patriots won the draft. And I know you look at like
don't go on a long tangent, Henry.
Okay, well, we'll see how long it takes. But I mean, you look at where Mac Jones was projected to go, and you could say, you know what? Yeah, sure, like he isn't the most talented, but he fits perfectly with the Patriots. And any quarterback who goes there is gonna be all right. He's gonna be really good. He's gonna be really, really, really good.
All right.
Now.
Andre, who won the draft?
I'm going to say the Chicago Bears. I think they made a hell of a deal to go up and get Justin Fields. It's kind of incredible that they were able to get him after the Panthers, Broncos, and then Eagles in a trade up all passed on him. And yeah, I think it's exciting. I think Nagy is the right kind of coach for him, and I think that'll prove to be a nice move by them.
If you want to hear Andre go off as to why the Eagles were so dumb about choosing Smith over Fields, go watch yesterday's show. I'm very happy with Smith, just so everyone knows.
Smith was my 5th ranked prospect.
Andre was like, it was the dumbest decision ever. I was like, whoa.
They drafted a quarterback last year.
Exactly. Anyways, AJ, who won the draft?
I think San Francisco did. I mean, Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, that entire organization trusts, right? I mean, they kind of do their thing, and this is not unlike what Kansas City did a few years ago when they had Alex Smith and a good roster in place. They jumped up and grabbed Mahomes and were willing to wait a year to see how it went. Let Smith do his thing. 49ers have a very, very good roster and a really good process in place. A lot of smart people at all levels of that organization, and they feel that they just solved their biggest problem. And if they're right, then it's about to be their NFC for a long time. And so I think it's got to be them.
Justin?
Based on the teams that have already been chosen, I guess I'll go with the Dolphins, who got Jalen Waddle and Jalen Phillips, who I think, when healthy, are arguably two of the better people, at their respective positions. Waddle, especially at wide receiver. I mean, Jalen Phillips was the number 1 recruit in the country going into UCLA. Obviously, there's some injury stuff there with both those guys, but I think really, really high upside on all of them, and guys that if they work out they're going to end up looking really smart.
All right, who lost the draft? Henry, quickly.
Wow, I should really prepare for this one.
I'll go. AFC
Okay.
teams that didn't draft a quarterback. The conference just added Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. There's like 4 teams in the entire AFC that don't have a quarterback. The Texans, because we don't know what's happening with Deshaun. The Raiders, the Broncos, and I'm blanking on someone, but it's not many. The Colts. Like, seriously, in the AFC, like, everyone has a quarterback. It's nuts.
Henry?
The Raiders. The
He
Raiders.
gave you time to
I got distracted by what Dre was saying. I was like, that's a good point. But yeah, they drafted Alex Leatherwood, and it was hilarious. Like, there was a tweet that came out from from Schefter, one of those guys, while they're on the clock, saying like, oh, they've always viewed the draft board differently over there, and then you find out it's Alex Leatherwood, and it's just like, good thing they got ahead of this one. They knew that people would hate this one. I mean, what a bad pick.
Justin?
The Saints, they took defensive end Peyton Turner, which was a crazy stretch, like probably a 4th-round pick that they took at like 18 overall.
AJ?
Or 28 overall.
I didn't like what Miami did with two premium picks. With 2 premium picks like that, I mean, they have maximized their roster in such a way the last couple of years that I'm willing to just give them the benefit of the doubt and see how it goes. But I didn't love it.
They're committing to Tua for sure, which is, people are.
That's cool. I like that they're
that.
doing that.
Yeah.
They should definitely do that a year after getting him. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
roll with your guy. So I didn't love what they did. And having 2 first-round picks, I think you have to walk out feeling like you crushed it, and I just don't feel that way about them.
Yeah.
There's someone here in the comments saying nobody knows who won the draft. Nobody has played an NFL game.
Of course.
And
Good
you
point.
are correct.
That is true, but we are taking a look at how the teams are already built and how this adds value to these teams. So that's what we're going off of. But yes,
And the answer is
we'll
we don't
see.
know.
We'll see.
It's a really short show if we come on here and say nobody knows yet. See you in 5 years,
Bye.
and then
Yeah.
fade to black.
I've said that like 4 times already.
So we're just
Steelers add Najee
desperate
Harris
out.
too. I want to throw that out
Yeah.
there.
Also, the real winners, the Jaguars getting Trevor Lawrence. We knew it was coming, but that is the winner.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, AJ, we are done with our draft talk for now. We are going to touch on Avs real quick because we have to go get ready for another show. Andre needs to head out to drive to the bar. So Andre is going to head out of here. But again, 4:45. Go check
Love
out
you
our
guys.
DNVR Draft Day Live round 2 and 3. It's going to be a great show. We're live throughout the whole 2 rounds, and then we'll be doing another live show tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Bye, Andre.
Bye, guys. Love you all. Can I just say, I wasn't mad at Henry. I was mad at Henry trying to use stupid logic, which he knows is stupid, to defend stupid people making stupid decisions.
Justin Fields threw from a clean
No,
pocket.
we're not
Austin.
starting this
That's all I'm
again.
gonna say.
Bye, Andre. Muting you, Henry. All right. AJ, we had a few people in the comments here saying, I'm disappointed. The Broncos didn't get a QB that I wanted, but my focus is going mainly to the Cup and to the Avs, who tonight, you were telling me earlier, are going to have Philip Grubauer, Jonas Donskoy, and Mikko Rantanen all back, which is huge. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They haven't lost they haven't lost 3 games in a row all season long, but people still found a reason to panic. AJ, how big is it to have those guys back?
It's huge. More than anything else. Grubauer's back. Having Philip Grubauer back in net, the difference between a starting goaltender and multiple guys that other teams didn't want this year.
And Dub's last game was just so.
Well, they haven't gotten good goaltending in these 3 games.
Yeah.
You look at it, and it's been soft goaltending for the first loss. It was atrocious goaltending in Vegas, and then Johansson didn't play very well, but he also kind of got hung out to dry in the second game. So I'm not super like dragging him or anything. Just I don't think he played well, but I also don't think it was all on him. But
sure,
when you don't have good goaltending, you're not going to win very many games in the NHL. That's just how it rolls. They played well in Vegas. They played a good game. They made some mistakes. They didn't get bailed out by their goaltender, and that's why you have that guy back there. Almost all of Vegas's big mistakes that they made, Marc-Andre Fleury was their back line. The difference between Marc-Andre Fleury and Devin Dubnyk is pretty significant. If the Avs have to try and go through the postseason with Devin Dubnyk in net, they probably don't get out of the first round. But I tell you, with Philip Grubauer in net, they immediately go right back to being one of the favorites. And then, by the way, you add in Mikko Rantanen, who's second in the NHL in goal scoring, despite the fact that he's missed 2 weeks now.
Yep.
So Donskoy will help. He's one of the league's streakiest players, and when he's on the down streaks, when he's cold, he's one of the he's not a very useful player when he's cold. But when he's hot, holy lordy, the guy is just it's white hot.
He's the big moose.
I mean,
especially with
Mikko.
We're talking about Jonas.
Yeah, Mikko. I mean, Mikko is Mikko, right?
Mikko's the big moose. But yes, Jonas too.
Mikko's Rantanen's addition is multiplicative because Burakovsky drops back down to the second line, and he gets into a much more appropriate role.
Yeah,
and he helps. It helps the top power play unit. It's just there are so many things that Mikko adds to the team. Rantanen and Grubauer alone, great. They're going to be just fine. Donskoy is going to help that middle six quite a bit, if only because it's going to push, hopefully, please, mother of God, push Liam O'Brien off the ice because the guy's useless. And I hate to use words like that to describe players because it's just cruel, but he's so terrible.
Joe Hamilton, and we've got people in the comments. We talked Broncos for 52 minutes. We're talking Avs real quick to end the show. You can go back. Yeah. You can rewind while we're live and catch all of the Broncos talk because we did a whole lot of it. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
The goaltending was bad when, my girlfriend who knows nothing about hockey watches Dubnyk give up a couple of goals against Vegas and was like, that didn't look very hard.
That game, some of those goals were just like
the first goal is it's a soft backhand, and people are like, it's a breakaway, and it's like he's on his back. He's committed to his backhand. What are you talking about? That's a routine save in the NHL. He gets one banked off of his back. because he's out of position, and it's just terrible. He was so bad. Like the 2-on-1 goal, you don't ever blame a goaltender, especially when they make a nice play. Your defense is useless in that situation. They don't give him any help. But he was so far from being competitive on it that you couldn't help it and be like, Dubnyk really was kind of far away out of that. He really wasn't involved in that goal too much. But they don't have to. They got one more game against Vegas. The rest of their games are against LA and San Jose. Two teams who want to believe that they're still in the playoff hunt. They're not. They're playing spoiler role. The Wild tied up their game last night. They're tied with the Avs in points now. The Avs have games in hand on everybody. So they, there's the possibility that if they get really, really hot and they win a couple of games, blah blah, they erase all these point deficits and yada yada yada. They're still in competition for the for first place in the division. It's gonna be work, but they're still in it. They really need to get back on track against San Jose tonight. If they play tonight as they did as a team in Vegas and they get just a decent performance from Grubauer, they probably house the Sharks. It's probably a 5-2 win.
I mean, I feel like just getting these guys back. Someone asked his group starting tonight. Yes, he is.
Yes.
Getting these guys back, getting Mikko, getting Grub, getting Jonas Donskoi, it's just going to add like an extra swag, an extra push to these guys to be like, we've lost the last 3. They weren't the best. Let's go show everyone that when we've got our guys and we're complete as much as we can be, we are who we are. And the bets, right? So would you take the over on DraftKings Sportsbook over 6.5 for goals? Yes.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. You heard it here.
Almost every Sharks Avs game has gone over that this year. The Sharks have bad goaltending. I think the Avs, it's their first home game in quite a while. I think there's going to be a little extra jump tonight, and I think that we're going to the rust from the guys who have been out with the COVID stuff. I think it's going to get knocked off pretty quick. I think this will be, you're looking for Nathan McKinnon's point streak to continue. Having Rantanen back is going to make life a lot easier. I don't think it's going to be a slow return for the Big Moose at all. I fully expect tonight 2 or 3 points, a goal, maybe 2, maybe get bold and go for the hat trick. I just think the Sharks just are really they're a good matchup for the Avs these days because they want to play more of an up-tempo style than they used to, and they don't have the horses to do it, and the Avs will get up and down the ice with anybody. So I'm all about this match. This is the get right matchup.
Let's go. Be sure to catch our Avs post-game show. We will be live for the draft, but it doesn't matter. The people who are tuning in who might not know what DNVR is we cover all Denver sports team every freaking day. There is a Broncos podcast for all these Broncos fans in here that you can listen to every single day. They go almost 2 hours long. We go live. So just so you know, but make sure to catch all of our Avs post-game shows right after the game on this YouTube. Go give it a like as well, like this video. Although we will be live for the draft, we will also be live for the Avs postgame, and it's going to be fantastic because it's Positive Vibes Friday. That's all we've got for you guys this week. We will see you next Friday. Have a great weekend.